Welcome back. So we had 6 games tonight. We had some extra time. We had 3 games go to extra time out of 6. So that's 3 3-point games, meaning there are some teams who aren't happy to see 2 division rivals getting points tonight in the same game. And some surprising results. Only one shutout. I thought we were going to have 2. I'm going to be completely honest. I thought we were going to have 2 shutouts tonight. It didn't happen. I had the 0 on the board. And then when it didn't happen, I took the 0 off. And I'm like, hey, didn't happen. All right. First up, we're going to start things off with Vegas and Minnesota. And I don't want to take anything away from Minnesota, but this game, you could see the difference for Vegas without Pietrangelo on the blue line and without Stone up front. And again, I'm not taking anything away from Minnesota at all. Minnesota, great game tonight. Kakkonen, seriously great game as well. But you do wonder, Stone and Pietrangelo in there, what happens? So first shift, there was a chance for Greenway. Pretty wide open action early in this one too. Like both teams getting chances. Vegas was keeping the Wild to the outside. So that's a key thing if you want to be able to prevent goals. And they played a trap tonight. Vegas seemed to play a completely different style, at least I thought so. Kaprizov had a chance, saved by Fleury. We get a power play, the Wild with too many men on the ice. Zuccarello was denied after the power play was done. The shots were 6-2 for the Wild at the half. Now, if their power play was any good, we'd had a different game tonight altogether. Fiala does score, though, from Rask at 10:51. And it was a beautiful fast break goal from Fiala, who's really feeling it right now. You can tell. He's back into the zone. So, Vegas seemed to be neutral in this game, but it was only 1-0. And that's the key thing. At no point did Minnesota look like they were going to run away with this game, so it's still close. A better second half for Vegas, and then with 9.5 seconds left in the first period, Vegas gets a power play. So we go to the second period. The Wild killed off the rest of that power play to start that period off. Fleury denies Fiala, so Fiala got 1 goal tonight. No sniff of another. Vegas goes back to the power play. Kakkonen stopped a chance from Smith, and they did kill off that penalty. So Kakkonen with a very good game tonight. Haig had a chance that was stopped. The Wild get a power play, but it sucks. And I don't know another way to put it. There are certain power plays in the league that when they happen, I think, And teams that can't score on the power play, when they pull the goaltender and they go 6-on-5, my brain keeps thinking, if you can't score 5-on-4, what do you think you're doing for 6-on-5? And then sometimes they're good. They can score that way. It's weird. Eriksson denied St. Louis was a good example of that. Things have turned around for St. Louis. We'll get to them. But yeah, Eriksson was denied. Fiala played some keep away late in that period, but it's still just 1-0 after 2 periods for Minnesota. And Vegas had a better period in the second than they had in the first. Power plays help. Third period, early chances for Minnesota, clearly with a chance to win this. Vegas misses Stone steals, I thought, in this game. Mark Stone, his ability to steal the puck and pass the puck is huge, and you can tell when it's not there for Vegas. Wild press, but it's another powerless power play. And the shots were 5-3 for Vegas, 11 minutes in. So Vegas was getting chances here and there, but really we didn't see that fight back. So Minnesota had them down in Vegas by a couple, and Vegas stormed back and won that one in overtime. I didn't get that same feeling from this game at any point. Fleury was doing his best to save the game while referees were letting some stuff go. The announcers noticed some things that were being allowed to just sort of happen out on the ice, and I don't mind that late in the game. And with the videos I've done today, that might surprise people, but it doesn't really surprise. As long as it's nothing egregious, I think letting them go out there and play the last 10 minutes when it's a close game, fine. Fleury, game-saving saves. Fiala had a break. He shot wide on that break. He was harassed a bit on that break. Meant he shot it wide. Goalie pull with 2 minutes left, and I was wondering, is there another comeback coming? Because Vegas is known for that. They did ice the puck with 43.3 seconds left, which forced them to put Fleury back in, so they had to wait to get Fleury back out. And then they award a goal on a slash. So Brodin would have had that, but he gets slashed. So they say, yep, we'll count that, and they have the right to do that. So the empty netter is awarded to Brodin. Eriksson and Foligno had passed the puck to him. 19:54, your final score is 2-0. Minnesota goes to 14-8-1, impressive record. Vegas drops to 16-5-1. So Vegas now with 33 points, Minnesota with 29. They're not that far behind Vegas. And again, It's going to be very interesting to see how these divisions end up completely panning out. And for Colorado, better be careful because, again, coming out of tonight, I don't know, maybe Colorado's in more danger than we might think. So Minnesota outshot Vegas 10-5 in the first. Vegas outshoots them 14-5 in the second, and then 7-6 in the third. Final shots 26-21 for Vegas. Power plays Vegas 0 for 3. Minnesota 0 for 2. Marc-Andre Fleury, 20 saves on 21 shots. Kakkonen saves 26 out of 26 for his first career shutout. So kudos to Kaapo Kakkonen. And again, Minnesota's goaltending this year has turned out to be pretty darn good. Guerin looks good, and yet Kakkonen was there last year. He just had to have the guys in front of him pushed out of the way, which was Stalock and Dubnyk, and now he's a pretty good goaltender in his own right. All right, moving along. St. Louis and San Jose. So this was the end of a long road trip for St. Louis. And it is worth taking into consideration that playing 6 games in California can get a bit tiring, and it's a lot of hockey. So now they'll go home, and we'll see how they do at home. But for San Jose, every game is a must-win. And so for San Jose, there was some desperation in this game that you want to see if you're a Sharks fan. Husso was tested 25 seconds in. The Blues don't score on their first shot. This is the first time in 3 games they didn't score on their first shot. Clifford and Gabriel then had a fight. And that's before Mikkola gets his first NHL goal from Tarasenko and O'Reilly at 4:16. Interestingly enough, these games, these 4 games here, this was the one that it felt like there wasn't as much happening as there was in the other 3. And so there weren't as many notes as I had for the other games. But, I mean, I was watching it. I just didn't see a whole lot that I thought should get thrown up on the board. The shots were 5-4 for the Blues with 7 minutes left. There's a power play for them. That's killed off. Balcers had a last-minute chance that was saved. Another good game for Rudolphs. Second period, Husso stopped a Burns chance, and then Vlasic would score to tie it from Ryan Donato at 7 minutes. So, tie game there. Blues get a power play. You know what's interesting is the Blues power play has had a lot of success recently. And yet, when it's cold, when you get a power play that's not going to score, you kind of know right away it's not going to score for St. Louis. So they had one, and then they had another. That was a no as well. And then they get a third with 1 minute and 33 seconds left. They get another power play. Sharks weren't happy at this point, but Braden Shen would score the power play marker from Perron and O'Reilly at 19:06. So eventually they do get the power play marker, and they go up 2-1. Third period, power play for the Sharks. That's killed off. Kane had a shot was stopped during that. Blues press it around the 6-minute mark, and then the Sharks get a second power play. Now, Couture gets a goal. It's immediately reviewed just in case he kicked it, and on the review they say, yeah, no, that's a good goal. And I think right away you could tell it was a good goal. Couture, so he gets the power play marker from Donato and Balcers. Balcers gets on the board. And at 7:58, it tied the game at 2. So San Jose again, showing some fight back in this one. Hoffman broke up a Sharks chance. Falk had a chance that just trickles wide, just so close to going in the net. Shen then missed an open net pretty soon after that. So we go to overtime. Puck control favored the Blues, but they couldn't get a shot as Dubnyk with the poke check. So nice poke check. It turns around, goes down the ice. Kane scores a goal from Carlson at 41 seconds. So thanks to the poke check from Dubnyk. I didn't see him on the score sheet, but maybe since then they've changed it to a secondary assist for Devin Dubnyk. But good poke check by him. And San Jose wins this one in overtime, 3-2. They go to 9-11-3. St. Louis drops to 14-8-4. And on this road trip, they go to 4-0-2. So the shots in this one were 6 apiece in the first, 16-5 in the second for St. Louis, and then 8-4 San Jose in the third. They got the only shot of overtime because Dubnyk poke-checked the puck off the Blues stick before they had a chance to get a shot. Final shots, 26-20 St. Louis. Power plays, the Blues go 1 for 4, so they've scored power play goals in 5 of their last 6 games. San Jose 1 for 2. Husso saves 17 out of 20, and Dubnyk saves 24 out of 26. That's the kind of goaltending that San Jose would like to have every night. If they did, they'd be in a better position than they are right now. Again, 9-11-3. I don't know that I see them getting in. But for Minnesota, they got to be kind of happy. They're 3 points behind St. Louis, but they have 3 games in hand. So, while St. Louis moves within, I think it's just they're 1 point behind Vegas. Vegas has played fewer games. So, Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these divisions shake out. Next up, Ottawa. Again, playing the spoiler role. I thought they were going to win this game too. I'm not going to lie. And Edmonton, full value to the Oilers. They have now won all 5 games they've played against the Ottawa Senators, which means against any team that's not Ottawa, they're 500. But that's fine. It all still works, right? All the points count. And they were wearing these tonight, the orange Oiler jerseys. And they don't have a great record wearing them, comparatively speaking, with the weird blue thirds that they wear. I don't know. It's bizarre to me how teams have different records with different jerseys, but it's a thing. It goes back years. So Dadonov scores on the first shot from Chabot and Zaitsev at 56 seconds, and I thought, oh, okay, so they're going to play like they do against the Flames. This could be fun. And then Kara gets in a fight with Goodbranson. Goodbranson gets the instigator penalty on that, but I think he was okay with that because Kara had delivered a trip on Norris. Goodbranson didn't like, so he stepped up to let Kara know he didn't like it, and so the two had a fight. So well played by Goodbranson. Stützle shoots wide as the Sens push, but then at 7:03, it's Yamamoto who stays hot. He scores from Nurse and McDavid. And then the Oilers, with that tie, they then press for the lead. Very good game by the Oilers tonight in general. Power play for the Oilers. Decord denied chase on. And then the momentum definitely at that point had shifted towards the Oilers. And there was some hanging on by the Senators. And again, Decord had a good game. The Senators get a late power play. That ends up with 1 shot. This was one of those games where Ottawa's power play, not great. Second period. Early defense by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Senators had some jump, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with some nice defensive plays at the beginning. Power play then for the Oilers. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins would hit the post. However, Jason makes up for it. He scores from McDavid and Koskinen at 6:03. Yes, Mikko Koskinen with the assist on that one. So, Koskinen has a power play point. What's up with that? If I was Mikko Koskinen, I'd look at the scoring numbers and start going up to Oilers who don't have power play points and offer to tutor them. So I noticed you don't have a power play point this year. I think I can help you with that. Yeah, because it's funny. There was only 5 seconds left in the power play, but it doesn't matter how early or how late you score them. They get it done. So the Oilers then go back to the power play. That one's killed off, but then Leon Draisaitl with a beauty goal. He scores from Turris and Barrie at 14:41. That makes it 3-1 for the Oilers. To the Sens' credit, and one of the reasons why it's hard not to kind of root for the Sens as the underdog this year, Stützle scores his first goal in 9 games. He has had points during that time, but that's his first goal in 9 games. Chabot and White with the assists at 17:57. So it's 3-2 after 2. Third period. Senators press at 2 minutes. The shots were 3-2 for the Oilers at 6.5 minutes. Power play for the Senators. That's killed off. More pressure from the Senators with 8 minutes left. I think Koskinen had a good game today. McDavid had a break, and Decord saved that. So, again, kudos to a goaltender for stopping McDavid on a break. Goaltender gets pulled with 2 minutes left. Tkachuk had a shot that was stopped, and Draisaitl missed the empty net. And there was enough time left on the clock for me to throw that up there and think that could come back and haunt him. It didn't. The Oilers hold on. They go to 16-11. Ottawa drops to 9-18-1. The shots in this one, 12-6 Edmonton in the first, 16-11 Edmonton in the second, 11-9 Ottawa in the third. Final shots, 37-28 in favor of the Oilers. Power plays, Ottawa 0 for 2, Edmonton 1 for 3. Decord saves 34 out of 37. Koskinen saves 26 out of 28. Pretty good showing from Decord. And yeah, Koskinen give him the kind of goaltending that they're looking for from him on a more consistent basis. We'll see if they get it. Last on this board is Arizona and Colorado. Sometimes the team that wins the game isn't the one that it feels like had the pressure or the lion's share of the play, and that happened tonight. And it's good news if you're a Coyotes fan. It's bad news if you're an Avs fan. This was a game that they may look back at this one and say, we didn't get a point and we needed a point here. So early Coyotes power play, and it scores. Brassard. He scores the power play marker from Keller and Ekman-Larsson at 4:54. So the Coyotes get that goal in the power play, and they put the Avs on their heels. And that was the first shot. And it kind of gave us an impression of Grubauer not necessarily having great numbers at the end of the night. The shots were only 1 apiece at 7 minutes. So 1 shot for each team, and there's a goal on the board. 9 minutes and 30 seconds in, the Coyotes get their second shot. So they get their first shot at 4:54. They get their second shot at 9.5 minutes. And it's kind of about how their night went, actually. Kemper saved by the posts as well. So the Avs were getting pressure, but I think they hit 3 posts in the first period, some ridiculous number. And then Chychrun scores from Keller and Goligoski at 15 minutes and 17 seconds. So if not for bad luck, the Avs don't have any at all in that first period. The Avs get a power play before the period's out. It generates 1 shot. So we go to the second period. Somehow, some way, with 4 shots, Arizona's ahead 2-0. It's bizarre. Second period, Coyotes press at 2.5 minutes. We get extended 4-on-4 play. Kemper denied Burakovsky, and then it's Nichushkin 4-on-4. Yes, Nichushkin stays hot. He scores again from Kadri and Graves at 9:31. So there you go. Nichushkin, 4-on-4 goal. The Avs then get a power play. They do score on it. It's Burakovsky from Girard and Rantanen at 14:52. So the Avs have tied the game. The Avs are out playing the Arizona Coyotes. There's no real reason to think the Coyotes are going to win this other than I'm watching the Coyotes feed because I enjoy listening to Tyson Nash. I enjoy their broadcast in general. And so they're rallying as much as they can while admitting the Avs are not giving up any shots. So the Coyotes weren't getting the shots. They did push back late. They didn't get shots during that pushback. In the last seconds, the Avs had a couple of chances that were denied by Kemper. So we go to the third period. And this is where it gets weird. Kemper gets hurt. And I saw them going back and forth through replays trying to figure out where he gets hurt. But to me, it looks like he hyperextended. And I want to say maybe hyperextended some. It's lower body, definitely. Now, whether it's knee, groin, whatever he hurt, I'm going to go ahead and say groin injury. Could be a knee, but he didn't look right, and he was even telling the ref, and you can see the ref pointing. I'm like, hey, when we get the whistle, we'll get you out. But I got to wait till the whistle, and he leaves. He didn't even hesitate. He just left, and so Ronta goes in, and you're thinking, okay, Ronta's cold. Kemper played really well to that stage, and so definitely would have been some nerves, I would think, for Coyotes fans seeing that switch. But Hjalmarsson had a shot that was stopped, and then Larson scores from OEL and Kessel at 4:06. So you know what that means if you're in Arizona. Taco Day tomorrow. That's right. Taco Day. He scored in the third period. 3 goals. Taco Day. I don't always mention these things, and I thought I'd mention it tonight because I used to mention it all the time. I think it was the chili fries, I want to say, for Detroit. But yeah, these little promotions are kind of fun. Like, for instance, here on Canuck game days, they have $2 Big Macs and quarter pounders, or $2 Big Macs and McChickens. And I'm like, hey, sure, $2 is good. So yeah, I like these little promos, and I probably should mention them more than I do because they're curious. And again, it's that regional broadcast experience that I get when I'm watching all these games that I really enjoy because it gives me a feel for those regions and for what, the broadcasts are and how they present the game. Anyways, Taco Day. All right, Calvert then had a break that was saved. There's a scrum after. Krause then had a fast break that was stopped. Lawson Krause wants another goal. He got one previous week, so he wants more. Nash also said locker room. I heard him. He said in the locker room. And I went, this is one debate. Is this a dressing room or locker room? Nasher said locker room. I'm going locker room. To me, a dressing room is what you go in for a dramatic play. I used to go to a dressing room if I was going to be in a play for high school. So there you go. It's these debates that I think are really quite funny, to be honest. I think they're funny because I know people might get worked up about something. I really don't care. You pick a term and you go with it. It's not really a big deal. Then with 2:14 left, the Avs get a power play. And then the question becomes, when do you pull the goaltender? Well, they would answer that. Some huge saves by Ronta, and then with 1 minute and 19 seconds left, they call a timeout, face off in Arizona zone, and they pull the goalie. So they have it 6-on-4. Arizona, to their credit, and to Ronta's credit, nothing happening. They hold on, they win it 3-2, they go to 12-10-3. Colorado drops to 13-8-2. They're now 1 point behind the Minnesota Wild. They are, let's see, 25-28. They're 3 points ahead of Arizona. If Arizona wins the second half of this one, which I believe is on Wednesday, Arizona's in this. So this is the thing. This is what Arizona needs to do. They need to win back-to-back games over teams that are ahead of them. You can get into this really quick. That's where it's wonderful that these are all divisional matchups, because you can make it really difficult for your division rivals. All you got to do is go out there and win. Do your job. So yeah, Arizona was outshot badly in this one. They win at 3-2. They were outshot 9-4 in the first, 10-3 in the second, 16-7 in the third. Final shots 35-14 in favor of Colorado. The Avs stoned by 2 goaltenders who did not play at the same time. That's cheating. And yeah, Arizona one goal on 2 power plays. Colorado 1 for 4. Kemper. He saved 16 out of 18. No, he saved 17 out of 19, and then Ronta saved 16 out of 16. I've got 16 out of 16 on both, so I'm like, no, that's not right. So yeah, 19 shots for Kemper. He saved 17. Ronta saves all 16. He only played 17 minutes and 40 seconds. He faced roughly 1 shot per minute. Did very, very well. And Grubauer saves 11 out of 14. Rough night for Philip Grubauer. If Colorado is going to maintain their status as possible contenders, Grubauer's got to be better than that on 14 shots. So we'll see how the second half of that one goes on Wednesday. That being said, I need to change boards. I was wrong. And here's the weird thing. So this morning I did the preview and I wore my Thatcher Demko jersey and I said, I'd like to see the Canucks win this in regulation. I believe in it. And I did. And then the game started and I went, because at 4:37, Petrie scores on a power play from Tatar and Kotkaniemi. And so, having seen this script before, I'm like, oh, Montreal scored first. Coming into tonight, Vancouver's 0-13 when they allow the first goal. Yep. So, when they don't allow the first goal, they are 11-2-2. So, if they score first, good chance they're going to win it. If they don't, no chance. Until tonight. So, the Habs buzzed. They were looking for a 2-0 lead. The shots were even, 5-5 at the halfway mark. Sutter gets hurt on a shot block. He would stay in. Played the whole game. The Canucks pressure, that draws a power play, but the penalty kill, very good for Montreal. And didn't really allow Vancouver very many good looks at all in any of their chances. Second period. Hamonic. Travis Hamonic's shot blocking, and I have to say, it is not a coincidence that Vancouver's numbers defensively seem to get better once Hamonic's healthy and back in the lineup. I like Hamonic, and I know that's probably going to cause the subscriber numbers to drop. At least it feels that way, because people hating on Hamonic from day one is weird to me. He's not your top 2. If he's in your top 2, you're in trouble. But as a borderline top 4, maybe a number 5 option, I really think he can be good. And tonight I thought he was good. Things get kind of scrummy at the Canucks net. These teams don't like each other, obviously. The shots were 6-0 for the Habs at 6.5 minutes. So again, this felt very familiar to me. This is where Thatcher Demko is stealing the game. Without Thatcher Demko, I think if you start Holtby here, and it's clear right now that Holtby's the backup. I think this is 7 out of 8 games started by Demko now. So Holtby is clearly the backup in Vancouver. There's no debate about who the starter is. Canucks were mixing up their lines. JT Miller hits the post. They did count that as a shot, because I guess he got a part of Price as well before it hit the post. The Habs push with 8 minutes left. They get a power play before the second's out, and that is killed off. So we go to the third period. It's still 1-0. And then Travis Green takes the lines, puts them right back to normal. So he mixed things up, and then he put them back to mostly normal in that third period. Petrie had an early shot that was stopped. Price saved a deflected shot. Jordy Ben was out of the game from a shot block. Did not return. So the Canucks were down to 5 defensemen at that stage. Kulak has a chance that goes high and wide. The Hab bench wanted a call on Pearson, and I'm not sure if it was a trip or a hook or what they wanted, but they were very vocal about wanting a penalty there, very not happy they didn't get it. The Habs press at 7.5 minutes. Demko making a ton of saves. Demko was really throughout this game just making some big highlight reel saves, including on a wraparound attempt from Drouin. The Canucks then get their third power play. Price denied Besser during that power play, and they did kill it off. There was a chance that then dribbled wide of the Habs net shortly thereafter, which of course is heartbreaking if you're watching it as a Canucks fan, like, oh, that went wide. So it felt like, yeah, this is going to be a shutout. I had already put on the board 49th career shutout for Price. Spoiler alert, he's got 48. Full trap too by the Habs. They were playing the trap pretty well at this stage of the game. Goaltender gets pulled with 1:25 left. A puck goes off the ref's head, and I think it went to Pearson out in front of the net. No harm, no foul, but still. Yeah. And then Gaudette scores from Horvat and Hughes at 19 minutes and 19 seconds. Like it's no big thing. Quinn Hughes with the helper. And Horvat in there as well. So the Canucks tie it, and they go to overtime. In overtime, Hughes was stuck on the ice a lot. He was stuck on the ice for 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And then what's interesting is he only left the ice for maybe a minute, and then he was right back on the ice, and I thought, really? He's back? Is he okay already? So Hughes played a ton tonight. Besser had the one chance in the overtime. It was a backhander from behind the net, and Price kept it out. That would have been highlight reel. It's a highlight reel save. And then Miller would hit the crossbar. But we go to a shootout. Shootout went on for a bit, and then Bo Horvat scores the winner. Horvat's good on shootouts. The Canucks win it 2-1. So for the Canadians, they are now 11-6-7. Those seven overtime loss points. That's 7 potential points over here that they've lost. Yes, they've got 7 extra points than if they'd lost in regulation, but still, they've now won 11 out of 24. Vancouver goes to 12-15-2. The math is still not good for Vancouver to make the playoffs, but they're making it more difficult for other teams. And I'm very proud of how they're playing right now. No, I don't see them as a playoff team, but at least at this stage, they're playing well. The shots in this one were 10-8 Vancouver in the first, 12-6 Montreal in the second, 11-9 Vancouver in the third, and then in the overtime, they had 2 shots to the 1 from Montreal. Final shots 30-29 Montreal. So Montreal really ran Vancouver over the last few times they played them. This is nice to see because it shows that Vancouver's playing better. Power plays, Montreal goes 1 for 2, Vancouver goes 0 for 3. Carey Price saves 28 out of 29. Demko saves 29 out of 30. That's your Demko. It's still bubble Demko. As long as he's playing like he did in the bubble, Canucks are doing all right. Okay, last up. Crazy. So the Ducks can score, and apparently they can score at will. Also, related note, Cal Peterson's numbers are mostly awful tonight, and they've been descending badly over, I want to say, the last couple of weeks. And the bad news is that even though this was his turn to start, Jonathan Quick was announced to be injured this morning. So we'll see if they go back to Peterson for the next game or what they do. So this was just craziness. Goals all over the place. Starting at 2:45, Shattenkirk scores from Lundestrom on the first shot. And when I saw that, I thought, uh-oh. Because again, Cal Peterson's numbers lately, yeah. And that's not a great start. Shots 3-1 for the Ducks at 5 minutes. The Kings get a power play. That has no shots. However, shortly after the power play ends, Adrian Kempe, who was in for a big night, he scores from Lizotte and Moore at 9:45. The Ducks had no shots in about 12 minutes. Nothing. And then as the period drags on, Raquel stays red hot from Comtois and Getzlaff at 16:46. That's the Rickard Raquel I watched, I want to say 3 years ago. It's back. Gibson stopped Luff in the last minute, and then with 5.3 seconds left in the first period, the Kings get a power play. Well, in the second period, that power play would be successful. It's Brown scoring from Kopitar and Grundstrom at 1:01. So that made it 2-2. Don't worry, there's a lot of scoring left to be done. The Ducks press at 8 minutes. There's a dangerous pass by Brown that gets cleared. And then Ben Hutton against his former team. He gets his first from Comtois and Raquel at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. And then I don't know, maybe Hutton felt bad about that. We'll talk about that later. Power play for the Ducks. Jones fires one wide. The Kings will get a power play after that. And then the Ducks get a first. Their first shorthanded goal of the year during that power play. Silverberg from Henrique and Larson at 14:04. But then the Kings get another power play. And early in that power play, who scores? Kempe with his second of the game from Kopitar and Doughty at 16:28. So, yeah, the Kings just keep bouncing back. However, less than 2 minutes after that, Raquel scores from Comtois at 18:15. So Anaheim has 12 shots in that second period, and they score on 3 of them. The Kings need a big save. One thing that they had going for them on that winning streak they had not that long ago was they were getting big saves. They were getting the kind of goaltending you need to keep wins going and to get into a playoff spot. They're just not getting it now. And whether it's truly on Peterson and Quick to some extent as well, or whether it's the defense in front of them, it was not a great night. Third period, Zegras was denied his first goal of the year early by Peterson, which is rude because he didn't deny much else. Athanasiou then scores at 1 minute and 18 seconds. And full value to Ben Hutton for handing off the puck. He anticipated somebody would be there that wasn't, and somebody was there that he didn't expect at all. And so Athanasiou gets an unassisted goal and a nice deke on Peterson on that one too, or on Gibson on that one too. Gibson's numbers as well have kind of gone right off a cliff after a good start. Peterson, good so far in the third. That's how low the bar had gone. He wasn't tested often in the third period, but he was good, and so the Kings were trying to eat into that lead. Zegras had a sharp angle shot that was saved. The Kings score, but it was pretty obvious right away that Dustin Brown had knocked the legs out from underneath Gibson just before the puck went in. And he had a smirk on his face when the referee said due to goalie interference, the puck, just no goal. No goal. Incidental was the one that I thought was kind of funny because I thought it's borderline, you could call it intentional. Borderline. Again, borderline. Man. Something's going to be typing away. But yeah, so that didn't count. However, the next one does. It's a hat-trick goal from Kempe. Doughty and Roy with the assists at 17:28. It's 5-5 between two teams that are supposed to be teams that can't score. So, there you go. They can score. And in the overtime, Henrique gets the winner from Zegras and Shattenkirk at 3 minutes. And nice pass by Zegras, who did not decide to go for another try at his first goal. He gets the second assist instead, and the Ducks win it in overtime. Crazy game, 6-5. They go to 8-12-6, and better yet, they injure LA's chances of making a playoff run. 10-8-6 for LA. You know that Anaheim going into this overtime was saying, look, we can't let LA get 2 points. If we're not going to make it, fine. We have to make sure they don't either. So the shots in this one were 8-5 at LA in the first, 12-8 Anaheim in the second, 9-6 LA in the third. In the overtime, 2-1 in favor of Anaheim, including the one that matters, the game-winning goal. Final shots, 26-25 for LA. So there were 51 shots in this game. 11 of them went in the net. And there you go. Blame it on the defense, blame it on the goaltending, whichever you'd like, by all means. LA 2 for 4 on the power play. Anaheim only had 1 power play. Unsuccessful in that. Peterson, 19 saves on 25 shots. Gibson, 21 saves on 26 shots. Sloppy game, but Anaheim will take it. They'll take it. And honestly, seeing all these goals for these players, it has to make them feel better about things. Now, if they can get the defensive side of it together, the Ducks can make real headway. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding tonight's games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And rest up, because tomorrow night we have a 9-game night because there are no small scheduled nights in the NHL from now until early May. So I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to covering all of it. And thank you guys so much for all your support along the way and for helping this channel get over 182,000 subscribers. Couldn't have done it without you. Thank you guys so much. I will talk to you again soon.